lady. We're going to talk today about leathers. I'm doing this because I am getting a lot of orders for leathers, and if you don't know what a leather is, I'm going to show you that here. But also too, I'm getting people that don't understand how we make leathers, but also too how they need to measure leathers. So we're going to go ahead and talk about that. Leathers on a Western saddle, this is what we're talking about. They come in different sizes. They come in different lengths, different widths, depends on the saddle maker, depends on, you know, if it's a barrel racing saddle, or it's just how tall you are. If it's a custom made, they may ask you, you know, how tall you are so that you know how long the leathers are. Most average leathers are going to be, I'm in the process of making some, but the gentleman's got to get back to me because I'm not going to send them until I have accurate measurements, because these are custom made for you. And once we punch the holes and mail them to you, they're yours, because you have to give me the accurate measurements. I had somebody give me measurements and they were mad, and I have you send me a picture because I want to make sure you get something that you need and use. With it's a lot of money that you spend, and horses are expensive, so I'm trying to save you guys money. That kind of a thing. We can send a leather that is no holes. And the best thing that I do for you is I ask you what color you want them dyed, what width do you want. We use a 10-ounce leather. It's a veg tan leather. These are not dyed yet. These are going to be dark brown. But then I will send and sell you a hole punch set, or I can actually mark them to where you tell me the holes are. But I don't like to punch them, because if you're off and you get that blevin all measured up and you're like, oh, it's just like an 1/8 inch off, then your holes are not going to match. So there, you can get you can just order them yourself, and if you have the hole punches and you know how to do it, you can punch them yourself, or you can buy the hole punch kit with it, and we can just send that with you, and you can put your blevins up there and measure it and do it yourself leathers kind of a thing. But that is something that you can do. Now, what I'm going to share with you, because a lot of people do not know, there is vertical holes and there are horizontal holes. And I'm going to talk about that here too. So and the reason why there isn't really a standard leather, you can go online and you can order leathers, but they may not fit your blevin, or you're going to have to buy a new blevin to make sure that that fits. And unfortunately, blevin makers, there's usually just one in the United States that makes them all. He was way behind there for a couple of years. But there's only a few blevin makers, unless it's a custom saddle. Now that custom saddle maker may have somebody else making their blevins. In the old days, when they were making saddles, they would use, let me see here, I've got a couple, you know, throwaway saddles that I use for samples. Let me see if I've got this. Yeah, so they would use a buckle. But they would just rivet, and these are star riveted on. They would rivet on a buckle, and then that would be whole, you know, go ahead and do the holes. It's actually not a bad idea, because then you don't have to worry about, you know, the blevins, making sure they fit, make sure they don't fit, and everything like that. But this, again, you have to look at this. So you can grab a ruler. So let me grab a ruler. The thing is that, again, in my glory, guys, this is how I work. But, you know, this one here is probably 1.5 inches, 2 inches. 2 inch, okay, so 2 inch. The older saddles do use 2 inch. There is 2.5 inch width leathers. There's 3 inch width leathers. So you have to know what width you need, okay? Most leathers are going to come about 60 to 66 inches. If you're really tall, you need to say, hey, I need a longer leather because I'm like 6'4", 6'3", something like that, and that may not work for you. You might put it down to the very last hole, and then it's still too short. you know, so those kind of things. So, and what I'm talking about is, so if you look at these holes are considered horizontal holes, okay? This one here, and I've only got a couple old saddles to show you, and this one here is horizontal holes. This one has an old blevin in it, okay? So if I were to make a leather that is 2.5 inches wide, but has this size of blevin or this, see, it doesn't work. So when we make custom leathers, we have to know exactly what it is that you're using, or it's just best to sell you the punches and you measure it up to your blevins and punch the holes yourself. To be honest, it's much better and easier for you because, again, I'm going to show you some other blevins. The reason why, okay, so that's a horizontal, okay? So this is a horizontal holes, okay? And the way that vertical holes are, I don't know if I have another one. I think I had problems getting this out last time. I had to sell another set, so this one is super, super, super tight. And it's not, it's the edges. The posts are up and down. They're this way. So this is a vertical blevin. So you have to know what you're ordering or you want made. You can do this yourself. You can make your leathers yourself. You just say, hey, Patty, I want a 2.5 inch. It's on our website. It's on Shopify now. It's on Etsy as well. But it's you just want to say, I want a 2.5 and I need vertical holes. And then we'll contact you because we need to have the measurements. Or you can just say, I just want the tools. Give me a thing. I just want the hole punches, kind of a thing. But you've got two different kinds of blevins. Now this one here would fit this little 2 inch, okay? But it also has a leather outside. You can also get them with a metal outside, okay? Other things about your blevins on your leathers, this one is a 4-post with a 3 inch, okay? So you have all different kinds of, I've got so many, and your sheath covers for your blevins, or you can just get them, you know, with a metal one and put the leather on yourself if you wanted to do that. This is not common so much as just your 2-post horizontals, okay? So that's one thing that you'll want to know as far as that. So you really have to, when you're going to make your own leathers or do your own leathers, you really have to know what blevin you're going to use, or maybe you choose to use that buckle wherever it went. That's the blevin. Or maybe you want to use the buckle idea and do it that way. Either way. And on the end of your, there is a video that I did on, I think it's a really short one, on how to thread your leathers. Most leathers are starting their holes at about 2 inches from the end. Some will start, this one here is 2 inches, some will start 3 inches from the end, and then there are 2 inches apart, okay? Doesn't mean they have to be that way. Maybe you want them 1 inch apart. Maybe you want them 3 inches apart. That's up to you, depending on how often you change your stirrups. If you're riding, somebody's really short, and then the next person who gets on is really tall, you're changing the holes a lot. You know, maybe you just need a half of a hole. You don't need that whole hole. So it all just depends on what you want as far as your holes. Again, the other thing too is you want these holes in the center. So you usually give yourself 1/8 of a 1/4 inch from the edges before you start those holes. So like this gentleman who wanted these leathers, he said, I need a 2.5 inch leather. And I said, okay, send me a picture with the ruler across here. And then I need to know also from the edge put your ruler there, and then put the ruler from hole to hole so that I can see. But he sent me one with a tape measure all the way across, and I couldn't tell half of the stuff. I mean, because it's like an eighth off, or it's a quarter off, or it's a 5/16 off, and that makes a huge difference when you're placing these holes on these leathers. So I asked him, I need to do that, but then when I'm looking at the picture, his leathers were only 1 3/4 inches wide. So this is why I do this video, is because you have to know your equipment. And even though you might say, and sometimes I do it, is that thingamajiggy, you know, that long thingamajiggy, the thing with the holes in it, you know, that kind of a thing. Some people do that, and I'll just say, what part of the saddle is that? Oh, you know, the thing that goes around the stirrup, that thing. Oh, the stirrup leather. And oh, yeah. So knowing your parts is sort of helpful to the person repairing, just so we don't mess up. But you can always text or email. Photographs say a ton. The other thing too about your leathers, if you're, you know, people say, well, can I keep using this one? Is this one good? Should I order a new one? The way that you can tell on your leathers, especially if you're wanting to replace your own leathers, it's going to be a bugger for you if you don't know how to thread it through the tree. So watch that video or subscribe, because I'll be having another video come up. But you really want to look at your old leathers, because maybe it's fine. Maybe it's fine and you're just like, well, it looks ugly, and do I need it? What I would do was I would look and I would bend it for cracks. Okay, this one is starting to deteriorate. There's lots of cracks. It's still in good shape, but because this is a key element for your stirrups, if this were to rip, then you could lose your stirrup. And that, if you're in a gallop mode, or, you know, doing some other stuff, it might be dangerous if you're cutting, or if you're doing all kinds of stuff, reining, and I wouldn't be say reining, but if you're cutting, if you're, you know, cowboy kind of stuff, it's literally deteriorating. So why is this deteriorating? Is because, one, it was not taken care of. Two, depends on where the cut of the cow they did this from. Most are from the back, because that is your strongest leather. You don't do it from the belly. This is probably a 10 to 11 ounce leather. But this is beginning to split. Okay, it's still usable. If they were to condition it and oil it, you could use it still for a while, but this would be sort of like what a doctor would tell you, you know, hey, it's not bad yet, but you want to get this done soon, you know, kind of a thing. Because it's safety. It's all about safety. I'm all about safety. All right. So definitely want to do that. And the thing is, with your leathers, as you can see, they get threaded through your tree. So they need to be extra long. So if somebody tells me I need a 40-inch or 30-inch length leather, I'm like, do you have kids? Because that would be for a kid. Because you have to put your blevin on, and then you also have to put your holes, and you'll put them up as far as you want to go if you want to put holes up. I usually put 12 lines, 10 to 12 lines. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. This one has 8. Depending again on the saddle and what they're using it for. Maybe they've got several people using it, and that kind of a thing. And then you have your fender layer here, and then you attach your leathers to that fender. You can use either rivets. You can use, these are star rivets, which star rivets can be good, but they tend to begin to rot out, but they use those in the old days quite a bit. All right. So leathers, I wanted to come on and do that, show you some of the different blevins, why it is really imperative when you order leathers from me to know your measurements, or we will say, hey, we will be happy to send you the leathers, you know, 2.5 inch or 3 inch leathers, with the hole punch. There is no standard really blevin, okay? Your blevins are so, it's like rings. Rings are a million kinds of rings. There's a million kinds of leather blevins, just because different makers, different time frames, different, you know, in the early 1900s, they do things differently. So there isn't really a set blevin. So that's why we ask for photographs a lot. You can text and email photographs. You can send us questions. I'm answering emails personally every day, all day. People are like, wow, you answer fast. Well, I'm on my business and this is my livelihood. So I want to make sure you're getting what you need. Everybody wants it yesterday anyway. So this is why I do this fairly, you know, quickly. I try to get the orders out to you quickly. Now, lastly, when you go and you measure your holes, please measure your blevins or your holes from center to center of your holes, okay? Because it can be just a hair off and that blevin is not going to fit, or that buckle is not going to fit. Because if you look at the buckle, they're certain width apart, it's not going to fit. So then you're going to have to go in and punch a bigger hole, which is a pain in the butt. So measurements, you're going to measure from the edge to the edge of that first hole. So I know that that is going to be, this one here is 5/16 of an inch. Then we're going to measure from the center of this hole to the center of that hole, and we're looking at 3/4 of an inch, okay? And then we're going to measure completely across so that I know you know what you're ordering, that it's a 2-inch, 2.5 inch, 1 3/4 inch, that kind of a thing. I need to know that. The other thing you will find that what we do that nobody else does, when we send you a leather, if we're cutting the point out, if you watch my video on how to thread a leather, you're going to see a hole in the end. And you can always just slice that off if you don't like it. But that is going to make your life a million times easier if you know how to thread with either the hole in the end, so you can use a piece of whatever you got. I use, you know, leather scraps and stuff, like a strip of leather. And you will be able to thread that through so quickly. Otherwise, you're going to give yourself a nightmare, and you are going to be cussing up words that you never thought that you had, trying to get this leather through. Because this leather, you're going to have to, and go to the threading video, but you're going to have to remove all this here in this saddle. You're going to have to take the conches off, take the screw off. You're going to have to pull this back, and there's a slot in there. But then you've got to make sure you get that up and around there. So that's why we do the hole, because as soon as you can thread that one piece of rope or whatever you put there, you're just going to go, and it's done. Trust me, oh my God, when I first started doing this, somebody said, use a hanger, use this, use that. And I was like, oh my God, Lord Jesus. And we would get up in there. I had 2 people doing it, and one's holding the saddle down, one's pushing. It was a nightmare. What you learn as you grow old. So I hope this was helpful. Didn't mean for it to be this long. However, I hope you enjoyed it. Don't forget, the website is The Leather Lady LLC. And my other YouTube channel is Saddle Repair and Restoration. So that's mainly just saddles and repair and restoration. This one has, like, we do wine carriers. We do like a dual wine carrier. We have a wine cork tray. We have, it's a whole set. We have coasters. We do things of that nature just for fun, to get away from the leather stuff. So that one is called, I think you have to go on YouTube and use the @ and Saddle Repair and Restoration, and you'll see it pop up. It's, I think, a black saddle with turquoise strings, something like that. And subscribe there. It helps out the channel. But again, please share this if you think this is helpful in any way for your friends, your families. Reach out to me if there's anything I can do. Go on our website, check out all our sheepskin airplane seat covers. We do sheepskin car covers, car seat covers. We do motorcycle. We do all that kind of stuff. So Go on the website, check it out. If you want to go on Etsy, check that out. There's not as much on Etsy yet because that's a new thing I was testing out. Everything is on the website, okay? But a lot of sheepskin, adding sheepskin to your tack, because the benefits of real sheepskin, and I can tell most of the saddles that come in that are older have that fake sheepskin. It's crap. It doesn't do your horse any good. It's not good. You should have real sheepskin. So if we refleece, we do not use any artificial. It is actually really top grade shearling. So, all right, I really do hope that was helpful, and we will see you on, we say in the old days, the flip side. Take care. Bye-bye.